don't want to go out anymore, like see anybody, because they are worried about having a panic attack. And when you have extreme anxiety and extreme fear and extreme worry of the unknown, especially because you don't know what is out there, and that's how people panic attacks are symptoms of anxiety. Okay,
yeah. Oh, you panic. Yeah.
So when somebody has a panic attack,
and
where
they freeze up, and
they either freeze up, or they start to sweat, or they become confused, or they actually pass out. It's your body trying to respond to the fear and the panic. It's actually biological, because your body has a fight or flight response, and your body is sort of trying to deal with the emotion that you're feeling. So your body reacts through the physical symptoms of panicking, and you can't breathe, and if you're in a difficult situation, all of that. So the fight or flight, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure. Affinity Xtra, be extra.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is Roger on Affinity Xtra. We're here to celebrate gospel music of black origin, but also we're here on the Edge Show because Roger is totally edgy. I'm alongside my sister that it is not fair. She's come from the sunny equatorial country of Ghana, where they have yam chips and chicken once every 5 years, but really they have jollof rice. I don't know why, because it's all about yam chips and chicken in West Africa. Why does nobody eat that more?
Roger, listen, yam chips and chicken, it's not special food. It's special food to you, but it isn't special food to us, because when we go for lunch, when we walk to the random roadside seller, that's what she sells. So it's exciting. To us, it's nothing special.
When you have a chips that don't bend in your hands and you just stand strong and you yam that bad boy, trust me, it fire. But so she just come back from there, and you know what, I must say, guys, just putting out for the experience. Now, I've been to the Caribbean, and I've been to the Caribbean, Jamaica and St. Kitts, and I've been to Africa, aka Nigeria. I said it quickly afterwards before.
Twice, Marky.
But specifically, I've been to Lagos. Yeah, not nowhere outside Lagos, but I've been there. But I never forget when I landed in Africa. I don't know, and bear in mind, I wasn't grew up with any pro-African anything around me. I felt like home. It's weird. I landed in the West Indies, and I felt like, oh, this is a cool place. But when I landed in Africa, it's like Nigeria. It's like you landed. This is the motherland, man. You know what I'm saying? And because we've been fooled by media, I expected to see gazelles kind of running around and giraffes looking outside, just laughing. You know what I'm saying? As in landing and stuff like that. Still, yeah. So, but it's obviously, it wasn't African. It wasn't a Sahara. Sahara down in southern Africa. It was the built-up area of Lagos. And then when we started driving, that's when it all went downhill. The driving in West Africa is not great. But anyway, Roger digresses.
It's called defensive driving.
It's called nobody took the test. They just paid the guy 200 naira and done, or $200. Is that true?
Listen, we live by our own rules. Okay.
She couldn't even deny, because, hey man, she want to go to heaven tonight, yeah? So she couldn't deny the fact that everything's about how much money you have. But anyway, we're not going to be talking about the governmental issues in West Africa. We've got enough government issues in the UK right now still, which is sending us crazy off ahead with mental health problems. But you know what? Because of depression, everything's going to be licking us again in lockdown 15.0. And we're getting through to this crazy stage. But the key thing what I wanted to hit today, guys, we have had Angela on here as a mental health I'll say expert, but also developing an expert, because I believe she's part of a pathway, and we want to communicate with her as she goes in this beautiful pathway. She does a doctorate, as she focuses on black people and mental health, which is absolutely amazing. But the key thing for me is that we've had her on talking, being on the side of a number of conversations that we've had, and how people have come out of it and how to respond to it. But you know what? But we haven't really done something about. We talked about not dealing with mental health, but we haven't defined elements of mental health. We haven't really done that at all. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's real important, because defining it helps people self-diagnose. You know You know what I'm saying? At early stages to get the help. You know what I mean? That's hence why we have sheets about cancer when you go to what these websites, and I give you this is what cancer could look like. You know what I'm saying? And then if it carries on for 2-3 weeks, see a doctor straight away. But what we do, we just leave it for 6-8 months, and it gets uncurable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what we do with our mental health.
Exactly. Same.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Preach, Roger, preach, man. You know what I'm saying? I should be an ambassador for mind or something, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But I'm legit, man. I've never suffered with mental health issues. I'm just here to save everybody. But anyway, now, just put it out there, just making everyone know. You know what I mean? Side as with some of the black issues I have with myself just came out there. But when it comes to mental health, it's a proper taboo subject within our community, within a lot of communities. Yeah. Nobody's gonna go, by the way, people, I'm cool. And I said to somebody the other day, we have a young person come out of a what do you call we see the Arkham Asylum, and asylum is not the correct word.
It's not the right word, no.
Everybody says, but asylum's the wrong word. Mental home is not the right word either, is it? It's not. It's as bad as saying asylum. What is the right word for a place where people apparently get looked after? Mental hospital?
It's a mental health facility.
Ooh, that's better. Yeah. That's better. Sorry, I have to learn my terminology, guys, because I know it as asylum, if not asylum.
People don't say that anymore, Roger.
I watch Batman, Arkham Asylum.
Oh,
yeah. So sorry, you know.
I see you're a DC fan then.
Yeah. All day long.
Yeah.
Why?
Sheesh.
It's dark and dreary. You know what I'm saying? It's man. It's a man.
How do we even get along?
You know what I'm saying? Sorry. Obviously she's playful, she loves the playful stuff in Marvel, you know what I'm saying, but you know, see, you can tell she's a positive mental health person here still, and I'm just like, yeah, gritty, dark,
grim,
yeah, very grim,
grim stuff.
Nah, 100, man, 100. But no, let's get to it now. So we're gonna look into different elements of mental health, and we'll get to superheroes because I've got a beautiful parallel when we get to the one that we're not going to go into details today, the PD. Yeah, when we get to PD, I explain PD, I've got some analogies and we're going to go back to DC and Marvel, yeah, and she's going to help break it down if my analogy is really accurate, because that's what I say to people anyway. But first and foremost, sis, let's just break down mental health from a clinical perspective. Let's kick off with the most easiest one that I believe everyone has faced. I can't tell if no one has faced this. I'll be shocked, and that is depression. Can you explain depression? Define depression the best way.
Okay, so first of all, I like to make it clear that when you talk about mental health, it's actually the state of well-being.
Okay, cool.
So I mean, I know it's been used in a generalized sense, but when you say mental health, it's actually the state of well-being. Okay. If your mental health can either be good or bad.
Okay, cool. So
it's like your physical health. Is your physical health good or bad?
So when I said I don't suffer with mental health, that was a really bad statement.
Yeah.
So she's exposing me because I'm just trying to be a bad illustration. You get me? So
yeah. But we don't say someone is suffering with a mental illness anymore. We say somebody's living with a mental illness.
Ooh. Sorry guys, I'm learning every second here.
Yeah. So now you say somebody's living with a mental illness, so you don't say you can say they have mental health problems, or they are living with a mental illness, the same way somebody can live with a physical illness.
But that's more positive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because living with mental health issues,
because it's a daily struggle. For a lot of people, it's a daily struggle. It's not like true. You have a headache and take a painkiller and it's gone. It doesn't happen like that with mental health. It takes a period of time to adjust, to learn how to cope and all of that. So that's why we say somebody's living with a mental illness, or somebody has mental health problems. When you actually classify somebody as having a mental illness, then that means it's long-standing, it's chronic.
Okay, cool.
So people have chronic depression where it's actually been passed down from generation to generation. So depression is hereditary.
Okay, so I heard a pastor said he doesn't believe in generational curses, and you say a generational hand downs and whatever. That's interesting. That's very interesting. that's very, very controversial at the same time. Not controversial. It's very hard pill to swallow.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Because you look back in your life and you're thinking, and you know what, where people, you got alcoholic parents, yeah? You know what I mean? I was very fortunate not to have that. But I know indirectly, you know, looking back in my history and I've seen drinking relatives, yeah? And I trace back the generation before thinking, there's another drinker right there. And it's a form of escapism.
Yeah. And especially if, I mean, going to your example of drinking, if they were drinking while they were having a baby, for instance, or during their, pregnancy period, the child is more likely to come out, and then as they grow up, due to environmental circumstances or situations, they may take up drinking as well.
You see them people, no rum cake for you this Christmas if you're pregnant. Good job.
You can have rum cake.
No, you cannot have rum cake.
You can have. It's
Victoria sponge. It's Victoria sponge for the sisters that are pregnant.
I'm not a medical doctor, so don't take my word for it. But I don't think the rum and rum cake is enough to make your child an alcoholic.
Says the Ghanaian. She hasn't got a clue about traditional Jamaican thing that actually drips, and you're like, it's going. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Auntie man, beautiful rum cake there.
I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not even going to comment on that. I'm not an authority, but
no,
to the question you actually asked, depression comes. I'll start with the symptoms of depression. Basically, that's how it's defined, based on increased or prolonged levels of sadness, of lethargy, of extended periods of not wanting to see anybody, not wanting to engage anybody, simply because you are sad for a particular reason, or sometimes it may be hard to determine it. You have to trace back a bit before you try to understand why you're sad, but it's an extended period of sadness. And it's not just maybe you lost somebody or you lost a family member and you're sad for a while. I mean, that's a natural emotion, but what happens in depression is that it affects every facet of your life. So much that it affects your work, it affects your sleep patterns, it affects your eating, affects your just ability to function on a day-to-day basis, basically. And when using the DSM, the diagnostic manual that clinical psychologists or psychiatrists usually use to diagnose depression, they say that you should have a number of major symptoms for a period of 2 weeks or more continuously, and before they can actually say, okay, this person is depressed. So it's not like today I'm sad and tomorrow I'm okay. Got you. So when you're having a bad morning, it's just a little cough. Yeah. So I mean, we throw around the terms a lot. People say I'm depressed when they may not actually be in that extended phase of depression. Maybe fine, you're having a difficult time, or you're dealing with difficult emotions that you can't quite process. You may probably already have the coping abilities to be able to deal with those feelings. But for some people, it's just so extended. After a while, they can't sleep properly, they're not seeing anybody, and you have to have a number of those symptoms. I don't quite remember the number, but it has to be, I think, about 2 or 3 or more of those symptoms happening continuously for a period of 2 weeks to be able to be diagnosed with depression. Yeah. So it's not just, not having a good day, or when we lose people, it hurts. We're sad, we're in sorrow, you go through all the stages of grief and all of those things, the denial and all of it. But when it's depression, the person just doesn't have any will to do anything. And when it progresses to a period or a state where the person doesn't receive any help, you start to lose your will to actually live. And that's when suicide actually comes in, because suddenly nothing makes sense to you anymore. You are struggling with your emotions. You don't understand why you're feeling this way. So
it's like it's something you defined to me, because I looked at it has been brought to me that suicide is almost like or self-harming is a element or one of these groupings of mental health, but actually it's almost like a byproduct in it of depression. So self-harming, suicide is almost a byproduct of potentially depression. So it's the way the person copes. Yeah. Do you think that our culture, and I only can talk for black people, you know, elements of African culture that I've been exposed to, we are very proud people. Yeah, and she nods. The church said amen. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Glory. You know what I'm saying? We're proud people. We're proud.
I'm not going to deny that.
I'm saying we're so proud, but if our children are suffering with or our relatives or family or we almost see elements of depression. We don't want to. We try to get them to cover it up or to conceal it, always to hide. Yeah. You know, is that really? That's not really right to go, is it?
Oh, definitely not. Okay. Definitely not. Because, I mean, coming from a collectivist culture, it's not simply about you having a problem, okay? Yeah. If you are depressed, for instance, it's sort of like a stain on the entire family. Like, we're not doing enough to make you happy.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yes,
you know, that's the kind of notion that comes, like, you have everything. What do you want again? Like, aren't we taking care of you enough? Don't you have enough love? So it's a collective.
I did all this for you.
Exactly.
Why do your parents do that?
Exactly.
Right? It's like if you fail, you'll say, you know, it's their fault. You'll say,
yeah.
Is it just like pride?
Well, pride and then a sense of responsibility. I mean, as compared to British culture, it's very individualistic. So if you're going through a difficult time, it's based on, okay, what am I doing? Who am I hanging around with? What happened in my life?
That's true.
You know?
True. Yeah.
But as compared to a collectivist culture, you're with uncles, you're with aunties, you're with friends and all of these people. And why are you depressed? Like, I mean, we make you laugh. We make you happy.
Yeah. You got food, you got a house.
Exactly.
Listen, you know what? Listen, guys. You got a job. You pay more money. You don't have to work. I had to have a what's it called? A paper round when I was 13 years old, and you're sitting on your backside. And you're 21 years old, and I put everything in the table. And on top of that, I had to go work at 16. And you know what? Anyway, sorry. I'm not saying I faced that, but you know.
No. But I mean, a lot of the time, that's the conversation that comes up. So it's not it's like an individual thing anymore. It's a whole family thing that you have. And I think people limit it to the fact that you have all you want or you have all you need. So why are you sad?
Especially the ones who are born in a different country. Yeah. So when you got parents that are born in a different country, yeah, they always go back home.
Exactly.
Back home, we had no fridge. You know what I'm saying? You know, back home when Hurricane Gilbert lit the country and we had no food for 5 months. You know what I'm saying? I was so hungry. So I'm just bashing myself. But I don't know if it's the same for your daughter. Yeah, you have pure back homes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you definitely get that a lot. Yeah, oh yeah.
So parents, please, if you're listening into this, don't back home. Stop back homing. You know what I'm saying? You say, we had it worse back home. England good, you know. England good. Yeah, I mean, what are you boning about? Face the racism.
It's fair for them to want to compare because they had to grow a tough skin to be able to deal with it. And I was having this conversation recently with a friend that I think we're quite hard on our parents.
Woo, reverse psychology there. Go.
No, we are. I mean, especially my generation, and I digress, but actually I was having the conversation with my therapist and I was saying that as much as our parents my generation at least has been, and I'm not saying you're old, Roger.
Just different generation.
In our generation, we are more exposed to a lot of information. We understand mental health. We are able to stand up for ourselves, speak a bit more. Our parents didn't have that. They just had to pick up themselves and move on. I say that by the time my mother was my age, she had I think she had 4 kids. She had a full-time job. She had family members to deal with. She had, she was in ministry. She had all of these things to deal with. And I'm 27 and I can't still decide what I want to eat for dinner. So, and I mean, it's a different time and a different space. And they didn't actually have the time to sit down and say, I'm tired. My mental health is suffering. I'm anxious. I'm depressed.
And it had different exposures. I always say to people, I would not have done certain things at a certain age in this era because they're exposed to so much. You know what I'm saying? The knowledge is so crazy. So for me, a lot of things you kind of learned and developed a lot younger, but in certain areas we had a very funneled approach to our knowledge because we was only given whatever you are given, that's how you learned. But these days you can go get, you know what I'm saying, go get
find
it,
information,
100%, man. And what doesn't really help is when I'm doing a podcast about mental health, right comes up on my screen is this breaking news. UK records 93,000 daily COVID cases, you know what I mean, record new high. Now that doesn't really help my mental health.
No, it doesn't. That's a whole panic attack there. You know, but I mean, as I said, I digressed. But let's go back to talking about depression. Cool. So as I said, prolonged periods of sadness, and I'm going to pick my phone and read a few things I put down.
Cool.
So some of the questions that they would ask, for instance, during the last month, have you often been bothered by feeling down, depressed, or hopeless? Do you have little interest or pleasure in doing anything at all? So nothing is fun anymore. You used to watch movies and feel better. You used to cook and feel better. It will give you some joy. And none of those things give you any pleasure anymore. If at least one of the two core symptoms have been present most days, most of the time for at least 2 weeks, ask about associated symptoms of depression. So you ask about disturbed sleep, decreased or increased appetite, fatigue, loss of energy, slow movement or agitation, poor concentration, feelings of worthlessness, suicidal thoughts.
That's a lot.
Then you find out about family history, because it's important to ask. As I said, depression is hereditary,
but our parents ain't telling us not insist. Our parents are not telling us that is your mom gonna raise up her hand and says, "Baby girl, I was depressed for 10 years." You know, say she never gonna say that. Did Jesus? Did you say? I was Jesus all that time. They never could say not to say depression.
No, I was blessed to grow up in a family where we talked about everything.
Oh, sorry. It must be the Ghana thing, man.
No, it's not. It's not a typical Ghanaian thing. Actually, my parents were very different.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents were very different. We had conversations about everything. We have money. We don't have money. This is what we're going to do. I mean, it was a whole consensus building thing. Like, I mean. We used to get spanked, and you get spanked, and my parents come and say, "I'm sorry, this is why I did it," and explain it to you so you don't do it again, and they apologize to you. My parents say, "I love you," before we hang up the phone. That kind of family. We're a little white, but
see this Ghana. Yo, Nigerians learn. But anyway,
go away, Roger. But I mean, yeah, these are some of the signs of, symptoms of depression, and asking about a family history is really important, because as much as it's influenced by environmental factors, it's also influenced by biological factors. So there are lots of neurological and biological factors that go into diagnosing depression or understanding depression. Jeez. So you actually have a neurotransmitter in your brain or some part of your body, but it happens in your brain.
Is that like because I'll epilepsy? Yeah. Is it the ECCG thing?
Not necessarily ECCG, but
we know what I'm on about.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, we'll go into that when we talk about depression treatment, because some people have to get electroconvulsive.
They still do that.
Convulsive shocks for a few people.
So guys, I watch too many movies.
not not the way they did it not the way they did it before, but basically it's sort of like it's brain activation, but we're going to. But there's so it's a chemical in your brain. Okay, it's called a neurotransmitter that it's called serotonin. Okay, and what happens is that serotonin increases your mood, or helps to balance your mood. Okay, so what happens is that when you eat, when you do physical activity, when you smoke, or when you are high, when you drink alcohol, there's a neurotransmitter in your brain that is released that's called dopamine that increases excitation.
Yeah, cool.
What serotonin does is that it's sort of when all of those happen, serotonin, if I'm not, and let me Google that so I don't lie to you. But basically, what happens in when somebody has depression, that there are low levels of serotonin. So you are given something called an all right, that sort of increases the uptake of serotonin. So your brain is producing it, but your brain is not taking up enough of it. So your mood.
Only electric treatment. I see black man get his electric chair. You know what I'm saying? So I watch Green Mile and there ain't no electric mental. Yo, people.
Okay, here's what serotonin does. It regulates mood, cognition, your reward, memory, physiological processes, but basically it regulates your mood. Okay, so when there's low serotonin in your brain, your mood is low. So when you are put on medication for depression, what it's supposed to do is supposed to increase your body's ability to
produce
take and take it up. Yeah, basically. So that's the biological aspect of it. Sorry, my psychology is a little rusty at the moment, or the biological aspect of it.
Listen, guys, I'm still not convinced. If they ever put me in a room, guys, straight jacket me, man. I'm just thinking me straight jacket it and just said, we're going to put you some electrotherapy.
No, because I mean, sometimes when you have to explain depression to somebody, you need to be able to explain to them that as much as there are all these environmental factors that are going on around them, it's not, there's also a biological element. And then that's how you are able to explain to them how to take medication. The same way you have a headache and you take medication because your body processes it in a particular way.
Brilliant.
Exactly.
No, that's good, people. So if you see me go like traumatized, I'm just behaving like a person does who hasn't got a clue about mental health. And then when I learn it as I go along, I'm just thinking about all the cartoon, you know, the metal cap and I put over your head and you'll say, but she's laughing because it's just probably thinking Frankenstein. I watch Frankenstein before you know, and using electro. But that's really cool, guys. That's a bit about depression. What we are going to do, guys, and we're happy to have certain conversations. Going to the new year, we want to be interacting with people. We want to be inviting people into conversations. If you've got questions, send us a link. If you want to send us a video into us, please do. Come to check us out on our social media platforms. We'll get the details to you. Hit us at info@infinityextra.com. And if you want to send us any videos, say, listen, this is my question or this is my audio of my question, that is no problem. Record the audio on your phone, send it to us, and we'll respond to that as well. So, just to help us to get more interactive with people out there for 2022. I think that'd be dead cool. Okay, so we can carry on about depression, but we want to get into anxiety because we want to come down nicely. So anxiety now and depression anxiety is personal to me. You know what I'm saying? Not personal to me, but because that could be my hand-me-down, I never forget my granddad, my nan. She ain't going nowhere for nobody. She never went back to seeing kids often at all or whatever, because a bit of fear there and everything. She was quite anxious. I really get to realize in my age. And I never forget my granddad, who gambles. My step granddad gambles, drink, does everything out there. But he watched the Formula One racing, and he asked me, "Why them drivers are stupid?" I says, "Are they?" This is because they're driving the car 200 miles per hour. Why you want to do that? You try to kill yourself. And look at him going, but you're... Anyway, you know what I'm saying? But they just never left the house. They just kept on doing the same thing each day. And and they're too anxious to do anything outside. You know what I mean? You're too scared. And I see that in some of my family members as well. The anxiety is just literally hand me down generation after generation. But I don't know if anxiety is something similar to depression. Because for me, it's the same thing. But if you could just help separate the both of them.
Yeah, okay. Before I touch on anxiety though, because it's Christmas and there's a lot of seasonal depression, there are different types of depression. There's mild, there's moderate, there's severe, then there's bipolar, and we'll go into that a bit later.
I'll give my
it's a lot. I mean, there's a wide range of mental illnesses, but especially now, to put out that people are going to experience a lot of seasonal depression, especially coming out of lockdown and having to be stuck in the house for such a really long period of time. And then we're going out a bit, and then now there's all the anxiety about COVID, which we'll talk about in a bit. But
what flared my anxiety? What lockdown did, and I distracted myself with fitness, doing my own personal fitness regime. Not like I went doing fitness before you start thinking to yourself, I lost 20 stones over COVID. No, I did not. Far from it. But I had to just change my fitness techniques to keep on top of my fitness. So, and it helped keep my mind off things because I'm so used to knowing what tomorrow brings. That as much tomorrow is not promised, we're so used to certainty that we had the certainty taken from our feet. in a country where we expect to plan next year.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So we plan for holidays in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
We
Totally rely on our diaries in this country.
And it's gone down the drain now.
Yeah.
And that really messed me up. I felt a bit sick, physically sick. I did a lot to keep myself going. Just physically feeling not 100, but I just had to fight through it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sorry guys, if you think I'm getting diagnosed right now on the station, I'm trying to get some free diagnosis out this lady here. You know? But anyway, but you know what I'm saying? So that's what I felt with my little anxiety. I don't know if that's correctly. So I did certain things to actually keep my anxiety levels as minimum as possible. And that's what I had to do, my little fitness, taking caffeine now and again, and different things like that still, you know. So you're gonna say no to that, innit? but yeah, go. So just sorry guys, I'll just digress. But anyway,
no. I was just gonna say, I mean, before we go into anxiety, and I mean, talking about depression is a long-winded thing, but which we'll go into a bit of detail later when we speak to a few people. But seasonal depression is that time of the year again where people's mood is affected by the darkness.
Listen, my wife always says this time of year it's like everyone turns into vampires or something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of lethargy because sunshine does a lot for us, you know. The sunshine does a lot for us. Just to see the brightness outside.
Us is black people. Is that correct? That's what you meant, isn't it? Is that what you meant? Okay, sorry. Also, but they go skiing. So if they go skiing, we go. They're not looking for sun and heat. You know what I mean? We don't do skiing trips. we just want sun. Anyway, sorry.
No, fair. I mean, well, true. That's why the UK, they run away to sunny places during the winter, but because it's dark by 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., there's a lot of seasonal depression and, as I said, lockdown and all the anxiety and worry about going back into it. So you find that especially between December, January, February, March. I promise I know the months of the year.
It's more, the dark months are more from October, November, December, January.
I mean, in October it's even a lot better than it is in December.
True. But December, December is when it's just...
People struggle a lot, and then you see that you start to binge eat, you're lethargic, you don't want to see anybody go out during Christmas and all of that. It's a very difficult period for a lot of people. And then couple that with loneliness of the holidays. There are people who are estranged from their families, or there are people who are still struggling with the anxiety of going out because of COVID and Omicron and Alpha, Beta and all of that. So keep in mind that if you're going to be, if you know, or you feel like you've experienced seasonal depression before and you've not known what it is, look out for these signs of the lethargy, of the extreme sadness, of increased fatigue, or just always wanting to be in bed, eating too much or eating too little, not wanting to see people, not wanting to go out, all of those things, and try to seek some help for it. There's a number of things you can do to lighten up your mood. There are mood lights where, when everywhere goes dark, turn on the lights, have a bit more brightness around rather than turn all the lights off, because that in itself can brighten your mood because you don't have the actual sun outside. Make an effort to go somewhere or see somebody. If you do physical activity like Roger is really good at, I'm not good at doing physical activity or exercise. So, but if you, it's hard to go for a run when it's cold, but if there's anything you can do indoors, try out new recipes, all of that, that's very, very important to lighten up your mood, increase serotonin in your brain, and make you less depressed. Seasonal depression is a thing, it's real. And a lot of
it's real. I think we don't recognize it. They're always connected to vitamin D deficiency as well. Is that something that gets raised in your biology lessons?
Kind of. Well, vitamin D and the sun.
Or is it an excuse to say black people can't handle this darkness?
No, not really. No,
it's a real thing. Vitamin
Most likely. D. I don't know the medicine behind it, so I can't say or not say. But I definitely know that being able to see the sun increases your mood, the brightness of being outside and all of that. So it might be connected, but
that's seasonal depression, people. You know what I'm saying? You know, crazy. But let's get to anxiety.
Anxiety.
Yeah. Let's go.
Anxiety. So anxiety is, again, prolonged periods of worry, of fear, of an extreme fear sometimes of a number of different things, or a number of different situations, or for a number of different reasons. There's different kinds of anxiety. Okay, there's generalized anxiety disorder, where you develop panic. A lot of the time it's as a result of something happening before, so you sort of connected one event with another, and because of that you don't want to be in that space again. Maybe the last time you were, I don't know, in the bull ring, you fell down the stairs or something, and there were lots of people looking at you, so suddenly you don't want to go out again, or you're really worried about going to that particular place or using that particular stairway because of how it made you feel. A lot of the time it's connected with a negative emotion or a negative connotation to something. So that's why people decide that they don't want to go out anymore, like see anybody, because they are worried about having a panic attack. And when you have extreme anxiety and extreme fear and extreme worry of the unknown, especially because you don't know what is out there, that's how people, panic attacks are symptoms of anxiety. Okay. Oh,
you panic. Yeah.
So when somebody has a panic attack,
and
where
they freeze up,
they either freeze up, or they start to sweat, or they become confused, or they actually pass out. It's your body trying to respond to the fear and the panic. It's actually biological, because your body has a fight or flight response, and your body is sort of trying to deal with the emotion that you're feeling. So your body reacts through the physical symptoms of panicking, and you can't breathe, and if you're in a difficult situation, all of that. So the fight or flight, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Except that in that instance you freeze, you can't breathe, but it's based on an extreme fear of something, extreme fear of the unknown, extreme worry. And during lockdown, I say in the next year there's going to be a pandemic, or a mental health pandemic, because a lot of people have been stuck indoors, and it's been, like you said, one news alert after another, uncertainty about what's next. I mean, as you said, it was hard for you to just deal with the fact that you can't plan anything. I mean, where I come from, in Ghana, if it rains, listen, you were going to go to work, but it's dependent on if it rains, if your car is going to move, what the traffic is like. There's all these
variables.
Exactly. But here it's sort of like we plan it, we know what the bus times are, we know when we're going to get there. Give or take traffic, Google Maps tells you what time. There's so much certainty, and people, as you said, people had that rug pulled from under them, and suddenly nobody knew what was going on anymore. Nobody knew how long we're going to stay in it. At first we're hearing, it's going to end in May or in April, and then by the time you realize it was 18 months and we're in lockdown. I kept telling my family members, we're in lockdown for that, my friends, for that period of time. And people thought, because in Ghana it was just like 1 month and everybody was back to living their normal lives, So when they were saying, why didn't you come to Ghana? And I'm like, I was stuck. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't even go to the shop. Okay, it was different. So it's very different.
That was deep, I remember that lockdown when it first happened. It's like there was so many, and then what made it worse? What took up people's anxiety levels. Was WhatsApp. I don't care what anyone says. Some of the dodgy stuff that I heard that was being sent around. What I saw. The videos and the there's this thing that they're gonna drop in chemicals outside. 5G's spreading the coronavirus.
There was so much fear mongering. Oh my gosh, there was so much of it. So much of it. Jeez. And all the aunties and the uncles were sending forward to 10 people so that your phone doesn't. Goodness. We are not even going to go there. But
trust me,
there was a lot of anxiety, and it's going to get worse. A lot of people, even I, developed anxiety, especially if you are suddenly having to be told that you're part of a vulnerable group of people and you shouldn't go out.
Okay, cool.
They were the NHS kept sending all these letters and emails. Vulnerable group, shielding. Fine. It was.
And they gave you 3 months, and it said stay in your yard till June. You're not saying nothing officially till June, and it was started like down in was it April? What is it? March? Is it May? It's May, June, July. Actually, it was August, innit? It was some madness like that, innit?
Yeah, it was crazy. When we finally got to go out, I remember going to Xtra to do a bit of shopping, and I almost had a panic attack because I'm like, oh my, I'm vulnerable. There's just so many people. There's no social distancing. People weren't wearing their mask because they were feeling a little free, you know. And I
ain't seen people right about now. If they don't have to wear the mask, they're not wearing the mask. They don't care.
But again, I mean, it was a one-off instance. I'm not going to say I lived or I was suffering during that period of time. I use the term suffering with anxiety because it was a one-off thing. Well, there's always something we are anxious about,
there is,
uncertain about the future. But when it's prolonged like that, especially when it debilitates you, becomes a mental illness when suddenly you can't function on a day-to-day basis normally. And I say normally like the way you used to. So you yourself can tell that suddenly you're not functioning the way you did. You don't want to mingle with people the way you did before. You don't want to exactly. You change. You can tell that you changed, or your attitude or your behavior things has changed.
Info, man. Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah. Then sorry, you're gonna say something.
No, that's guys. This is absolutely fantastic, guys.
Yeah.
So please, if you are listening to this podcast, please share it with people. Yeah. Put it out there because it's important that we self-diagnose ourselves. It's important that we understand, because when you know you know how to treat yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't say self-diagnose though, but
okay.
Because it's. I mean, you suddenly become a Google doctor or a WebMD doctor. The ones that everybody. I mean, it's like I find that a lot of people, as much as people, let's take ADHD for instance. That's it's a learning disorder. I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying the politically correct terms, so forgive me if I'm not. But attention deficiency, hyperactivity disorder.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe people have ADHD or they weren't diagnosed as children, and suddenly somebody can't focus for a good period of time, and then now they are self-diagnosing that they are having ADHD when they really don't. What it does is that for the people that actually have the disorder, it negates the experience.
Got you.
It makes it like, oh, it's not that serious. I have it too. That kind of thing. Like you're not the only one struggling with it. I have it too. So I mean, self-diagnose in quotes. It's important to talk to a professional, obviously.
100%. It's almost like a almost triage kind of approach, isn't it? Yeah. So you basically do this, you just do the right thing, and then get yourself off to the pros, and they will do the rest. Don't try and have don't try and do a triple heart bypass. And you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about that levels and stuff. We're just saying, put the person in the rescue position. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, again, issue another disclaimer that a lot of people think that they are introverts, or they like to keep to themselves, so it may exactly be pointed to having a panic disorder or not wanting to be among a group of people. It may be different things. It's just your personality type. You really just, after a while you just get tired of being around people and you want to leave, because that's just how you are. So don't equates that you having a panic disorder. An anxiety disorder. You're
anxious around people because you just love being by yourself. Some people can just love the group as the youngest, and they just doing business themselves because they're the siblings.
Exactly.
Just was just doing their own thing, and you're the baby. You know what I mean? So stuck to that. Can I get an amen from somebody out there? It's not my problem anyway. But So but no, I 100% get that. That's kind of. Yeah, and again, guys, please send it out, man. You know what I mean? This is really important information.
Yeah.
You get the thought going. Do you want to go to the next one, sis?
What's the next one?
PTSD.
PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Sorry, excuse me.
I'm just thinking of soldier. I'm saying, I guess, So we've got a lateral flow test next door, so we'll be taking this treatment, and I'll be having the next 12 days taken off due to this strain, which is just straight fresh from. Now I'm not going to trace it back to where it comes. get Africa. We're back on red alert, man. We're not going to open that whole kind of worms.
I like what Nigeria did. I really like what Nigeria did. They put everybody knew it was purely
hype. Yeah. Disgusting. Just
It
discuss
was bad, and Nigeria's like, okay, no flights to the UK, and then now Ghana is like, if you want to come in, you have to take the vaccine. I mean, which is a bit of it's a touchy subject anyway. Not everybody wants to take the vaccine, but if the West treats us like this, then I mean, obviously we have to take drastic action. So I don't completely agree, but
it is what it is, people. It is what it is. It is what it is. But now PTSD, I think of army soldiers straight away when I think of PTSD. But it's a lot more than that.
Definitely. So that's post-traumatic stress disorder that you have a traumatic experience, and then following that, if you find yourself in, let's say, a similar situation, even not necessarily similar, but you have a constant replaying or re-imaging, or the fear attached to that, what do you call it? To that trauma or to that terrible situation is carried through your daily life.
Yeah, man.
And it's hard to detach from it. So outside of, let's say, for people who come back from war and have to come back to regular civilian life after they've seen people die around them,
yeah, man.
head bombs blow up and all of that, and then have to come back to regular life and readjust is difficult. For somebody who was abused, for instance, that has to deal with being around men or women or being in relationships, it may be a difficult thing for them because of the trauma that they had to deal with. For somebody that has had to deal with a natural disaster, flood, hurricanes, volcano eruptions, stuff like that, any similar triggers or situations may put you in a situation of panic or fear.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe I'm not given the proper definition of PTSD, but there are a number of other examples or situations where people may suffer PTSD, but it's based on the trauma that you've experienced. When you have any stresses related to that trauma, and whatever your stresses may be, they vary from person to person and experience to experience. But then it triggers the fear, it triggers a particular behavior, or something people do. And then maybe some people, for instance, sometimes PTSD is connected to OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, where in order to be able to cope, people have to perform some particular rituals or do a number of things just to manage the stress, basically.
You know what I mean? Because trauma, guys, trauma stems from not only soldiers, because it gets identified with soldiers, but it also comes from trauma, from abuse. And that's a very serious element that does face people. And we there's a podcast that we did, myself and Angela, with Anu, who faced trauma herself through abuse from a child. And I think this is probably the one that really has a sharp edge to it, because before you develop PTSD, you've already gone through something, you know what I mean, which is almost unthinkable. You know what I'm saying? Something that you could not conceptualize. So PTSD, people get it when it comes to, obviously, unfortunately situations of sexual abuse. Also, there's other elements of abuse as well as a child that children face, and that's why it's important to child services are important set of people, because they dealing. We were trying to prevent trauma, you know what I mean? And obviously we can't do it for everybody, but this affects adults. And there's so many adults with hidden PTSDs because of their childhood madness. Or childhood, sorry, not madness, trauma. So that's a slip of my tongue out there. People go, amen, but no, people, it's not madness, it's trauma. And there's so many implications from it as well, crazy. But we hopefully we're gonna get somebody, a black army soldier in, hopefully, who suffers from PTSD, seeing dead people, different things like that, man. And how do you process that? People take it for a joke, you know what I mean?
I can't imagine. I mean, what they have to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, man. And they have to rely on chip money, literally chips money, they don't have the money to really spend months of years of their life with somebody to help them get off the chest. And you know what I mean? So they're just dealing with it themselves, a lot of them individually. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I mean, with all of these mental health problems or mental illnesses that have been discussed, they come with comorbidity. So anxiety may come with a comorbidity of depression, or PTSD may come with the comorbidity of anxiety and depression. I mean, there's so much interconnection between all of them.
Yeah, they almost
so
cross over.
Exactly.
Yeah,
a lot of the time they cross
over.
over.
Wow.
You don't just find somebody with one mental illness or one mental health problem. There's a lot of crossover there. And then it comes with a lot of substance abuse or destructive behavior that people are trying to use to, deal with the...
Jeez.
Yeah, to just simply deal with the emotions or... Yeah, cope. Coping is the word to cope. So that's why when you see a therapist and you talk about your problems, what happens is that you are assisted to develop better coping mechanisms or better coping facilities so you can deal with the emotions. So it doesn't mean that the emotions exactly go away, but you learn how to deal with them better.
Cool.
And you recognize why they are there. You recognize why you are feeling them. You are allowed to feel them, and then you're allowed to deal with them properly so that it doesn't become destructive.
Yeah,
or you don't end up self-harming, or having to feel like your only option out of it is death.
Come on.
Which a lot of people have come to the conclusion of, that at this rate they can't deal with what it is they're going through anymore, and it's just they can't suffer it anymore. They can't live with it anymore. So death is the only option for them. And to a lot of people, suicide is selfish, but to them it's more of, I don't want to be a burden on you anymore. I don't want you to have to deal with me struggling, or I don't want you to be in pain anymore because of what I'm going through. So
wow.
A lot of people are dealing with a lot of things, and especially during this period where we know that in the last few months people have lost family members and people are alone. People are going to be dealing with seasonal depression or anxiety. Always remember that you are not alone. There's a lot of help available, and there are lines you can call, there are people you can speak to, and speak to the right people, speak to professionals. There's a lot of support online, especially if you don't even want to go in person, but get the help. Now, if you type suicide, you automatically get helplines come up that just say you're not alone. All of these things. Just sometimes it just takes having somebody, a random stranger, just listening to you, to make you feel better. It may not solve the problem entirely, but it can help things. So
it's deep, baby. This deep, man. I'm like, whoa, yo, this is some weighty stuff here, absolutely weighty. But we're gonna be expanding into these going into 2022. We're gonna try and get some life situations. If you want to invest, if you want to have that conversation with ourselves because of your journey, do put it out there still, yeah. But let's slip on to when this video is going out. I know it'll be after Christmas, and eating disorders. So eating disorder, there's going to be a lot of eating going on, but there's something about eating a lot and eating disorder, which is two different things.
Very
eating a lot
can
be part of the eating disorder, but it is totally different things. And straight away, when you say eating disorder, I think of a very skinny lady.
But you see, the interesting thing when you think about that with anorexia and bulimia, for instance, that there are people who actually look normal sized that are anorexic or bulimic.
Listen, they ain't me, people. You never know, actually.
So, an eating disorder may be anorexia.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let's define anorexia. Xtra looks like somebody who just doesn't eat for me. Yeah.
Not necessarily, but there's an extreme fear of putting on weight for a lot of reasons. Trying to conform to beauty standards, or dealing with other things. But basically, what the person does is that the person avoids eating at all costs as much as possible. But if they do eat, what they do is that they try to throw up the food. So it's like, I like the taste of it, but I don't want it to stay in my body. So they throw it up, or they take a laxative. I think before anorexia was just simply not eating, but the definition keeps expanding as time goes on, because as you said, the symptoms interact. And then there's bulimia, where the person delibereately binge eats a lot of food at once, different kinds of food, and then throws it up. Or makes themselves throw up, or
crazy.
Or the food has to come out some way. again, because of the fear of putting on weight or the concern of fitting in, and a lot of different. I'm not just saying that people want to fit in, that's why they are stuck with this, but there's a lot of comorbidities as well. The person is suffering, dealing with anxiety or PTSD from a different situation. There's, as I said, a lot of interactions between mental illness. And
a lot of it stems from a women's perspective, because I know men do have this disorder as well.
A lot. Actually, now it's interesting, but we're finding that kids as young as 6 years are being diagnosed with anorexia and bulimia.
How can you? Sorry, I'm just being ignorant.
No, imagine you have a kid that, like young boys.
I can't imagine
when a lot of young boys are chubby. Growing up, they're chubby, and then as you grow up, you get tall. Your metabolism starts acting differently. Fault. Sorry, and not necessarily.
They yam too much food.
No, not all the time.
Yes, they do. Well, can I have an apple? Can I have a sweetie, mommy? No problem. There's a big packet of marshmallows.
So take for instance this.
It's a share sweet.
Rest his soul. I don't remember his name.
Have you seen the Viennetta thing? Yes, I'm gonna be ignorant Jamaican dad now. Yeah, Viennetta. The ice cream. It's about that big. Yeah, someone know about that big. Yeah. We had to share that between 6 of us in my family for pudding. These days, the youths have one each. You're telling me what the chubski. You tell me what the chubski. The chubski, because they never a whole Viennetta to themselves.
Well,
this Christmas they're gonna be eating Viennetas to themselves. Not sharing.
It's not exactly. It's not always that.
See, the families are too small these days. You need to get back to having 4, 6, 8, 9 children. You get them to share the sweets. But anyway. Sorry, just let off some steam off there. I feel better now. Anyway,
please ignore Roger. I do not know him. I haven't met him before. Like,
listen, but all the people going, yeah, and looking at the wife going, she gonna slap me for even thinking that. but no, 100%. I think that that's a problem. The image. It's a very westernized thing, because I watched a program on East African. When they get married to the brides, they have fattening tents thing. I don't know if that's a West African thing.
Maybe in some parts.
Yeah. But I know in what is it, Rwanda, or I'm not sure if you watched. I don't know if you know about these fattening.
I know what you're talking about. That bigger women are more desirable.
And they're like saying, "Oh, okay, that's a sign of my wealth."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So. And it shows definitely it's a Western thing, because but at the same time it shows you culturally how much pressure we get put on ourselves culturally, depending on which part you are. Because to be honest, that might not be too good either.
And then I was going to talk about binge eating disorder, where people eat a vast amount of food over and over and over. A lot of the time to do with some different emotions. So they're not throwing the food up. They're not taking laxatives to get the food out. They're just eating. Okay. And a lot of the times to do with other emotional problems or to mask other emotional problems. There's a number of other eating disorders.
There's more?
There's more. There's, what's the name of this one? I think it's called PICA. So PICA, I don't remember what it stands for, but basically where... Now the person has desire to eat things that are not food. So you find that people have an eating disorder where they're eating sand, chewing paper clips, eating detergent. Yeah. And again, you find that there's a lot of other issues going on in the background.
Is that self-harming?
Yeah. Kind of. Derivative of a self-harming behavior.
If you see me screw my face, I'm like.
But there's quite. I've forgotten a couple of them. There's one I don't remember what it's called, but basically, when people are diabetic and want to lose weight or go, have the food broken down faster or go into hypos, there's like a reverse of taking too much insulin so that your blood sugar drops really quickly.
So you can binge it.
Yeah, not necessarily binge it, but when your blood sugar drops, for some people they may want to binge it, but for some people it's either that they, you know what? I'll go and look for it properly and come and explain it.
5 Mars bars instead of 1.
No, maybe 2 days worth of insulin at once. Do you know what? I'll go look for it. I don't want to give any wrong information. Is going to be one that we're going to definitely.
We definitely want to speak to people about this the eating disorders because.
But remember, you don't have to be skinny or obese to have an eating disorder. There's a lot of other factors, so it's always important to be empathetic and be considerate, when you're making these diagnoses or saying stuff about people, because I mean there's just so many factors that's the funny thing
is when they see a skinny girl, the girls go, she got anorexia.
Some people can eat a whole tub of ice cream and have burger. Listen, some people's metabolism is just like that. They don't put on weight.
Yeah, man.
I smell the food and I put on weight. It's just like that for some people, but I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it. So it's not just like it's not all black and white. That's why I talked about not necessarily self-diagnosing, because there's a lot of factors that you need to consider before you say somebody has a mental illness.
Okay, guys, this is a tough episode, guys, man. This is so tough. It's making my stomach churn, man. You know what I'm saying? I need to. I'm gonna put something over. Right, and I want to kind of like touch this one, but we're going to break this down even more in the future. But I have to touch on it because there's many tales of this disorder. But it's called personality disorder. We call it demon possession. And when I say we, the church says amen, brethren. So we go through deliverance service and we deal with personal disorder that way. You know what I'm saying? We tarry. You know what I'm saying? We seal up the room with the blood of the lamb. You know what I'm saying? and destroy that demons in that person. You know what I'm saying? I'm just defining what person. This is what two personalities look like for me. What are you gonna say to me? Yo, I'm totally wrong.
Well, yeah, you are.
Okay, she paused. That means there's an element of this truth.
I mean, so
if somebody comes up to you and says, "My name's Fred." Hi, my name's Jane. But Fred, Jane.
Listen,
Fred.
I mean. There's different. I mean, when it comes to faith and spirituality, there's elements of it that you can talk about when you talk about some. I'm not even going to go there, but when you talk about spiritual things, then you focus on the spiritual things, But when you're talking about what you can see physically, then you deal with it as it is, so that people are not confused and people don't take it the wrong way, or especially in faith settings, when you talk about people having mental illnesses.
It's such a grey area because spirituality is an unseen thing. Physical health is seen. Mental health is an unseen thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And we unseen things for us as Christians is
automatically spiritual. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And it's very hard to so when you see personality, straight away I'm going, man's gonna be twisted up. Man's got the spirit of something inside of them, a spirit of wrath. You know what I mean? Or a spirit of distant spirit. So we start to spiritualize certain things. But in terms of personal disorder, just give us a brief gist of this, because we're gonna end on this, and we're gonna be rounding up now. But we're gonna be opening up this with a lot more. We're gonna come with a lot more information with personal disorder, because we're gonna look at how it is a very, very tough subject.
It is
very, very tough, because there's medication that people take for this. There's so many things out there. There's so many elements to it. So go for it.
Yeah. So personality disorders. I think the most common one that we're more familiar with is schizophrenia.
100. If somebody said the schizo, that's what we used to say. Schizo. What are you laughing? So I'm saying all the terms that you say at home, but I'm not allowed to say in front of the professionals. You know what I'm saying? She's laughing because but we all say, yo, that person, they're a bit weird, because they're a bit schizoid. You know what I mean?
So it's an affection of your personality, basically. Who you are as a person is affected. How you interact with other people, how you relate with things around you. Telling you it's based on your thinking and your feeling patterns.
To an angry person?
No, really. Do you know what? Let me explain it better from.
So guys, this is the massive subject.
Let me give you a proper definition. So a personality disorder is a condition that affects how you think, feel, behave, or relate to other people. And this is taken from the NHS website. So basically, the different kinds of personality disorders, okay? A whole range of them. which we'll talk about in a bit of more detail. So there are suspicious personality disorders, where somebody has a paranoid personality disorder. Okay,
That's called ganja psychosis to me.
no, but you see, they do call it drug-induced psychosis. So you're somewhat right, except you call it ganja.
I'm just talking about the community of defects of
the
the community.
schizoid personality disorder, and then the
Trust me, I've seen it
schizotypal or typical personality disorder. So schizoid and schizotypical are most likely, I mean, more related to schizophrenia. There's a lot more detail that goes into it.
Is schizophrenia more like how I see it is when people like to, they're like angry people like let's go, you know what I mean, and they go for you.
A symptom of schizophrenia may be what do you call it? Hallucinations and sometimes aggressive behavior.
So that's when you think of the people in a white jacket. People that schizoid.
Yeah.
So these are all little pictures.
And again, there's a lot of biological aspects to it as well with regards to brain function. So
that's why the electric chair. That's why the electric chair is connected to schizophrenia.
Well, yeah, I think so.
See, guys, the movies ain't wrong.
With regards to inhibition and being able to control behavior, basically. Okay, then we talk about emotional and impulsive personality disorders. There's antisocial personality disorder, more destructive borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. And we're going to talk about all of this in a bit more detail later. Let's
open up.
The topic of mental health is not exhaustive. You know, there's just so much to have discussions about. Then there's anxious personality disorders, avoidant personality disorders, dependent personality disorders, and obsessive compulsive disorder.
Listen, guys, I have a crazy feeling for 2022. We're going to be developing up Angela with our own podcast, to be honest, man. And we're going to have people to come in almost like it'd be interesting to have a podcast which is almost like a therapy session podcast. You know what I mean? That'd be crazily cool. You never know, guys. You know what I mean? You never know. Listen, God, you gotta work things out because because it's so deep. It's ridiculous.
It is.
All these points that you put down. You know what I mean? It's absolutely just disorders. Straight away, I went for the schizoid thing because obviously growing up, you go for schizoid, being strapped up, electric treatment. You know what I'm saying? And a person doesn't feel better. They're more like dribbling and you know what I mean, and taking. I mean, and it's again, movies and media give such a negative depiction of mental health. It's like them people in that asylum over there, or that home in the middle, the big home with people who goes down and just gives them 15 tablets each in the morning, and you know, and they're dribbling and they can't communicate.
But there are a lot of people that are walking around that have schizophrenia, that have different personality disorders, that live normal lives because they are on medication, they have therapy, and then that's why it's important to always consider that there's a biological aspect to it as well.
Wow.
With regards to brain function, when it comes to like medication, and I mean there are different controversies with regards to medication when it comes to mental health, especially with black people, because it's the route that is always taken, medicate them rather than actually give them therapy and find the root of their problems. But that's a discussion for another day. So as I said, it's not all black and white. There's just so much that goes into it.
This is a crazy subject, man. It's a crazy subject, man. Crazy. Now, guys, we have just spent almost literally over an hour talking about just the basics, scratching the surface of the depth of mental health, and hence why when you're doing your degree and you're going into your masters, and when you do your doctorate, you end up being you don't come out until you're almost 30. Is that right, sister?
Ouch.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got to do so much studying because it's such a big subject. It's crazy.
It is.
But once you've done it, she's going to be an amazing practitioner.
I cannot wait, Roger.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, when she's on 150k, we should be like going, yeah, man.
You know how we do.
Yeah.
I promise to remember you in paradise.
Yes, as long as I get yam chips and chicken, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? You know.
I will make yam chips and chicken for you, Roger.
Okay, that's cool with me, man. Make sure it's fresh, one. You know, none of them stale things that I get over there, man. Fresh import from Ghana, man. Anyway, so yeah. But this is Roger alongside Angela Kumar, and we just gone through some of the definitions of mental health. Is it definitions or disease or
definitions of mental illness. Different types of mental illness. But we talked about what mental health is. It's the totality of well-being. So you can either have good mental health or bad mental health.
100. Guys, this is Roger, over and out. Untitled Chapter, celebrating gospel music of black origin, but also the tough chat, which affects us culturally, physically, mentally, spiritually. So let's get ready. I'm gonna play some big tunes now anyway, still the station anyway, still because I need to get out of this right now, but listen, this is nothing but love, man, guys. God bless y'all. Blessings and thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you. And disclaimer, if I didn't explain anything properly, I'll definitely go back and then
make comments, guys. Make comments, feedback.
I don't know everything, so give me feedback.
Comment on it. Have that conversation. Please, guys, just hit us back. We're not here to tell you everything. We're here to provoke the mind.
Exactly.
To start looking into it, man. Yeah. All right, then, man. Nothing but love, people.
Thank you for watching the content we're putting out. Listen, make sure that you are liking, subscribing and following us on all our social channels, including patreon.com. Make sure you're finding us on there to support what we do so we can support you. And remember, guys, be extra.